My bad. One more time.
Check.
Yeah.
Mic check. 1 2 1 2. Mic check.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so I accidentally hit, Control R in Reaper starts recording, and Control R on Discord restarts Discord.
Oh my gosh, dude. I tell you what. You got your britches snagged up over there, don't you?
Yeah, no shit. I feel like Ernest P. Worrell.
Tripping, snatching tablecloths down and shit.
What was it he said this morning? We watched Ernest Goes to Camp. The harder I try, the more things seem to fall apart. Something like that. Oh, Ernest.
Dude, did I show you? Yeah, I think I actually found a video of that Buckmaster's VHS tape.
Yes.
That he did back in the day. Yeah, split personality between him and his cousin Bubba.
Yes. That shit was awesome.
My gosh. That's just classic stuff, man. He was taken from us too soon. Was it lung cancer?
Yeah, wasn't it? I think it was.
I think it was.
All right. Well, that's pretty sweet. So, yeah, Jack. All right. So, coming at you from Ubuntu Studio here. What is it? 20.04, which is the April 2020 release of Ubuntu with Ubuntu Studio. Well, yeah, I'm just running the Ubuntu Studio flavor of it, which comes with XFCE. It comes with Jack. It comes with Pulse, which is another audio layer, like identical to Jack, I suppose. But like there's a special program called Ubuntu Studio Controls that bridges Jack and Pulse for you, which must not be an easy ordeal because it's a little janky. Sometimes I end up having to, if I do stupid shit like starting Jack and then closing it without resetting everything through Ubuntu Studio Control Panel, everything fucks up. So, yeah. But it's working. Jack is really cool. I can route audio around wherever I want it inside of the OS. You can create all sorts of virtual inputs and outputs. So, because normally I was having an issue, and I don't know, this gets pretty deep technical details here. On the Poor Bastards Almanac, episode, what did we decide that was? 52. Yeah, the issue I was having is that my USB audio interface, I couldn't send it to Discord and like Reaper at the same time to record. And I couldn't send my Discord output to my headphones and to Reaper at the same time. I probably could have, I don't know, there's probably a way to have done it, I don't know. But this seems to work pretty well. And fairly well, I say. It just took me, 30 minutes at least to get this set up and going.
So, and I don't know if we've ever talked about this before. It's always a hoop to be jumped through before every single episode, getting the audio straight. Didn't you just say that you saved these settings and you should be able to load them the next time?
I did, and I was able to, because when I just crashed everything, when I accidentally closed Jack instead of minimizing it, or to be specific, QJack control, when I closed that instead of minimizing it, it stopped Jack. And yeah, like the Pulse bridge was still set up and Pulse was still closed down. Once I fire up Jack, it kills my normal audio, my like hardware inputs and outputs. And because Jack only wants to see like a single audio interface, because when you start messing with multiple audio interfaces and they have different, when you have digital audio, you have a time code, and that time code lets your digital audio converters know when to make samples of a waveform. And when you have multiple sources coming from different interfaces, running their own time clocks, the sample, even though the sample rate is set the same, it's not perfect. So things get really out of sync and you get a lot of artifacts, especially when you're trying to bridge to multiple audio interfaces with different time codes. That's something you don't do in the professional world. They make specific hardware time clocks that you plug into all of your gear that needs to interface together. So they're all on the exact same sample rate. No matter how imperfect it is, it doesn't matter. Relatively, it's the same. So Jack pretty much shuts down all the interfaces except for the one that you've selected. You can bridge them. It's not recommended. So yeah, anyway, when I restarted just now, I went back to that session that I saved, which is kind of dumb. For some reason you have to select a directory to save to instead of just, normally, name this file or whatever. This time the save box specifically requests a directory. And when you load it back up, it also wants you to select a directory, but by default, it puts you inside of the directory that you're trying to select, and you have to back out of the directory and then select it and then load it. But it did work. I made sure everything was open up first. Discord was open, Reaper was open, everything was connected and going, and I loaded it and snap, it worked. I was surprised. So those hoops, yeah. Hopefully we don't have those hoops to jump through anymore. But yeah, Ubuntu Studio comes built in with, and I've uninstalled a lot of stuff now, but it comes with a lot of audio production, graphic design, video production built into it. I've gotten rid of a lot of the graphic design stuff, but there's even still a lot more on here. It's got font, open source font programs. It comes with Blender. It comes with GIMP, which is basically an open source Photoshop.
I love GIMP.
Yep. It comes with PicoPixel or PicoPixel. I don't know, Piko Pixel, which is a pixel art program, which is pretty sweet.
Huh.
It comes with a lot of photography utilities. Darktable, which organizes and develops images from digital cameras. Rapid Photo Downloader, which is just like an organizer. It'll grab all of your files from your camera and rename them and organize them for you. Just all kinds of stuff it comes with, just based around, creativity production. And it's free. It's as free as it can be. You can stick it you can download it, put it on a flash drive, stick it in your computer, boot into the OS without changing a thing on your computer, and just try it without changing a thing. It doesn't get much cooler than that, really.
We're in the future, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get around to updating, but I'm enjoying 1910, man. This has been a really good OS to learn Linux on. It's
probably not a massive upgrade from 19 to 20. Because that was 1910 was October of 2019, and we're just here in April. Let's see. How to upgrade, 5 reasons to upgrade. Now, these are a little older. 2 ways to upgrade to. Nope. Let's take old Google here in the past month. 13 awesome new features. Let's see. This article seems to be from itsfoss.com. Free open source software.com. More default theme variants and the Aubergine Touch. So yeah, there's a lot of themes that are built in to the window managers, or window manager, being GNOME, and the file manager being Nautilus. GNOME 3.36 and all the visual and performance improvements that come with it. There's a revamped lock screen. You can disable desktop notifications. There's fractional scaling. Oh, yeah, because, before it was either 100% or 200%, you could scale your icons on your desktop. And now they've got fractional scaling, which, for just different size displays. If you've got a massive screen running at 4K, you probably need to scale those icons up a little bit. Or even especially a smaller screen running at 4K, you definitely need to scale up those icons. You can get rid of the Ubuntu dock. Okay, yeah, that's the GNOME dock. Or they call it the Ubuntu dock. I assume that was part of GNOME. It may not be. You can get rid of it completely. Oh, so Snap is from Canonical, who makes Ubuntu. I didn't realize that. So Snap is being pushed a little bit harder. And it will... So before, whenever you try to run a program that you don't have, it'll say, the command, what they use here is HTOP, which I don't know what that is, but command HTOP not found, but it can be installed with, and now it'll tell you snap in the version and apt in the version. So it'll tell you both of those, which up to this point, I recommend installing from Aptitude rather than Snap. Snap's, which I just recently found out, and Snaps are almost like the way that Valve installs games in Steam, whereas each game has its own... It seems to me that each game has its own install of, say, Microsoft.NET or something like that. Every time you run a new game that you buy, it has to run a .NET installer as you run the game for the first time. That's sort of the same operation going on with Snap, is that each Snap application has its own dependencies, which just takes up more hard drive space, which is fine. Hard drive space is cheap now. But,
boy, is it. Holy crap.
Yeah. So it's really not that big of a deal. But I don't know. I've found that some Snap applications just don't run that well with lower level hardware interfaces and stuff like that. Specifically audio interfaces in a lot of ways. Linux kernel 5.4. You get native exFAT support. Okay, that didn't really matter because you could install exFAT. You could install a driver that would handle exFAT for you in previous Linux kernels. exFAT, I know my Switch runs on, or the Switch SD card is exFAT, which is it's just a different method of storing data on a hard drive. Faster install, faster boot. Which this was a pretty quick install. I installed Ubuntu Studio twice, and it was pretty quick.
In one night, dude.
Yeah.
I was looking at the timestamps on your, I had long since gone to sleep that night, but I was looking at the timestamps on your chat, and I couldn't believe that you had done all that in just, one evening. It was in the span of 4 hours, wasn't it?
Yeah.
You piddled around in between, so it's not like you were doing that the entire time, but it's pretty wild that you were able to do that. It'd be unfathomable, years and years ago.
Yeah.
Doing that with Windows, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
How much of a pain in the ass you think that would be?
And let's see. Well, shit, I actually installed it 3 times that night because the second install, I screwed it up and I forgot. I just went through the default install. The second time around, I installed, shit, what was it? LVM. So LVM is logical volume management. We'll tangent off here for a second. It's a system of managing logical volumes, which is much more flexible and advanced than the traditional method of partitioning a disk into one or more segments and then formatting it with a file system. So I decided to go with LVM. One of the reasons is because I can encrypt my entire hard drive. So my entire hard drive is encrypted as soon as it shuts down or restarts. And I have a separate password to unlock, to unencrypt, to decrypt my hard drive. For a long time, I wondered why. The answer is LVM can do things better, some nifty things. It can resize partitions, move partitions. I think it's easier to have partitions across multiple hard drives now. So now you can have... So yeah, I've got like a 500 gig SD drive, solid state disk drive coming. So I think... It seems to me that I may be able to enlarge my current volume here and span it across my partition here and span it across 2 hard drives now if I wanted to. I may want to, I don't know. What else we have here? Improved ZFS support. So yeah, ZFS is just a different file system. Kind of like well, I don't know if ZFS and LVM are like the same in the same context. Seems to be. Anyway, there's no Amazon app. Python 2 is gone. So Python 3 is the default Python install now. WireGuard VPN specially backported. We won't be using Linux kernel 5.6. It is backporting WireGuard in kernel 5.4. Okay. I don't use WireGuard VPN. I don't know anything about it. WireGuard is the new buzz in the VPN industry. And including WireGuard in its kernel should give some boost to 20.04 in the cloud scenario. There is no ISO for 32-bit computers. Oh, there is no, so there is no 30, you can't use 20.04 on a 32-bit system. You have to have a 64-bit architecture, which most people, I don't know, you and I do at this point. Most people, I think we have for a while. Under the hood improvements, GNOME is less resource hungry. It feels sleek and light to use. Improvements to Thunderbolt support. Most of the software has been upgraded. You get NVIDIA drivers on the ISO itself. That's big.
Yeah, what a pain in the ass those NVIDIA drivers were. Couldn't have done it without you, man. Thank you once again.
Oh, yeah. Cool. All right, well, that's the rundown there. So yeah, that's now that we've bored everyone out of existence. We can talk about some Orange Man bad.
Listen here, Fat. How do I open PDF? I mean, dude. What are we going to do with him? The Uncle Touchy's rape train just ain't stopping, dude.
Yeah, no.
I mean, look. Perception is reality in politics. Whether or not he is or isn't, Bill Cosby is a rapist. Is Joe Biden? Well, up until now, I mean, who knows? Who knows? This isn't proof what's come forward thus far, but I mean, it's a lot more. Here's the thing: what has come forward against Joe Biden is much more compelling than anything that came forward against Kavanaugh, and the ferocity, the total, just the way Kavanaugh was handled is. They've put themselves in this ballpark. They either have to do the exact same thing to not look like hypocrites, or they look like hypocrites. I don't know. I was much more articulate before my head was filled with allergy medication.
Yeah, it's yeah. Orange Man Bad is such a deep I don't know, philosophy, if you want to call it that.
Because that's the root of this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Orange Man nominated Kavanaugh, and we can't let Orange Man have anything that he wants. So, throw away all the other pre-printed signs that we had for all the rest of his possible Supreme Court picks, and let's sharpen the long knives and get the pitchforks out against Kavanaugh. And they drug his family through that whole thing too. I don't believe that Kavanaugh has even came close to doing anything to what was alleged against him. It is much more likely that Joe Biden did what is accused of him. But at the end of the day, there was no proof against Kavanaugh. There isn't any proof right now, and I don't think there really ever is going to be, other than people that can agree with her and say, yeah, I remember when she talked to me about this back then. Her mom apparently called into the Larry King show. I don't know if that's been confirmed or not at this point. I don't know if that's been refuted, but her mother has since passed away, so there's no figuring that out. But still, there's still so much more to wade through and have to make a decision on with Joe Biden than there ever was with Kavanaugh. And it was absolutely horrid what people wrote and said about this man, regardless of his family and the relationships that he does have with women.
Oh yeah, well he's not a person in the eyes of the internet. I mean, I don't think anybody really is. Like, these aren't real people with real relationships. They're just symbols. They're just icons.
And they're dehumanized, and that just adds to the venom.
Yeah.
And anyhow, this is a bed purely made by Democrats. The Me Too movement was born out of liberal Hollywood. Weinstein and all these assholes in Hollywood that had gotten away with it due to a culture up there for decades. The chickens finally came home to roost, and the far, far left usurped what was otherwise a very valiant movement, and you just have to have extremes, and in an echo chamber of the far left, where they quash out dissenting voices. The loudest and the loudest people rise to the top, and that's why you had the hashtag believe all women. Like, fuck men. If the woman says it, you believe her, and you ruin that bastard's life regardless. That was the Rose McGowan method which was endorsed by several other Hollywood knuckleheads. I can't think of their name. So the tone had already been set for something like this. And a jackass like Joe Biden, even if he didn't do this, it still doesn't look good with the reams of photos, the photo albums worth of people that have a weird look on their face when he's got his hand on their head, cheek, shoulder, waist, what have you. It just doesn't look good. And it doesn't help that this dude is losing his mind. I think there are some people in his campaign and in the DNC that are, about to stroke out and have a heart attack over this. But at the end of the day, the smart people, I guess, realize that Joe Biden is just the sacrificial lamb, that Trump is going to steamroll this guy. But at the same time, nobody's going to say that, especially if they're in the Democrat camp.
Well, dude, if they don't have like Michelle Obama or Oprah Winfrey or like RuPaul as, they've got to have either a black woman or a black trans as his running mate. That's their only like saving grace in this is who will his running mate be?
Because that's going to pull in the far left, the people that,
the people that don't vote. It's going to pull in the people that don't vote. Far left people don't vote. Everybody, I mean, that's young people are the far left. Your university crowds, and those are the people that historically just don't go vote. They yell and scream on Twitter about, oh my God, go vote for Bernie. He's still got a chance. And nope, not a single one of them went and voted for him. That's hyperbole, but it's pretty close to the truth.
Yeah, when you look at the numbers, of who actually did vote.
Oh, yeah. Bernie was going to win the election. I mean, Andrew Yang was going to win the election and Bernie was going to win the election. And, they were all going to win the election. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's to contrast with 20, whatever year that was, 16. Everybody kind of, the news, legacy media thought that a Trump win was in the bag. I mean, sorry, they thought that a Clinton win was in the bag. I mean, it just looked like, here's Hillary Clinton, the first female president. She's white. She's wearing suit pants all the time. She's perfectly groomed. She's been, Miss President for forever. She's got a political history for a couple of decades now. And, then they all cried live on the air when she lost. But to your point, it's obvious today that Joe Biden's not going to win against Donald Trump. So yeah, I mean, they've got to be changing underwear like hourly, wondering how in the world they're going to pull off all the shit they've been talking for the past 4 years.
In a debate against Trump, they've got to stop that from happening. I've been looking forward to that. For so long. Oh my God.
We vote this year, don't we?
Yeah, November.
When do the debates start?
I heard, this is, take this with a grain of salt. Someone was saying that he's got about another 2 months. I think it's over the summer.
Democratic debate. Okay, first presidential debate should be September 29th in Notre Dame, Indiana.
Aha.
Yep. So, okay, September 29th, October 15th, October 22nd are the 3 presidential debates. Indiana, Michigan, Ann Arbor, Michigan, and Nashville, Tennessee, respectively. And then we've got a vice presidential debate between the first and the second on October 2nd. October 7th. That's Salt Lake City. But yeah, was this the first time that they split up Democratic debates? Like where they had some participants here, some participants there?
I'm not sure.
What is the Congressional Black Caucus?
That entire group of people that sat there dressed in white with sour ass looks on their face during the first State of the Union address when Trump was announcing historically low black unemployment and all the good things that he's been doing all across America and benefiting minorities, the very objectives that are championed by the people that were sitting in those seats. Yet Orange Man Bad had them sitting down with their arms crossed with just scowls on their faces. And that was, you remember that was the gift with the little salt shaker dancing around.
Yep, that shit was so funny. Oh my god. All right, so yeah, the Congressional Black Caucus is African American members in the United States Congress positively influencing the course of events pertinent to African Americans and others of similar experience and situation, achieving greater equity for persons of African descent in the design and content of domestic and international programs and services. Okay. Donald Trump created the coronavirus to kill black people. And he's clearly the worst possible person to be leading our country through one of the deadliest pandemics and worst economic calamity of our time, says progressive.org. Thanks, our politics.
Meanwhile, it appears like the FBI has been caught plotting before an interview with General Michael Flynn. Trump tweets, "The Russia hoax is the biggest political scandal in American history. Treason!" 3 exclamation points. Let's see how it ends.
What happened now with the FBI?
He had retweeted a Kimberly Strassel tweet. It says the FBI knew Michael Flynn wasn't colluding with Russia, so it plotted to, quote, get him to lie. New documents reveal that by the end, the Bureau just wanted a scalp. And I think that was Kim Strassel. I'm not sure who she works for. I'll look that up in a second. But that's what Donald Trump retweeted. And he said the Russia hoax is the biggest political scandal in American history. Calls it treason and then asks, let's see how it ends.
She's a conservative columnist for the Wall Street Journal editorial board.
Okay.
She's a member of the Wall Street Journal editorial board, and she is a conservative columnist, according to Wikipedia.
There is a Wall Street Journal article, it looks like, linked to that tweet that she originally made.
Ah, okay. Yeah, the case against Michael Flynn now looks a lot weaker. Yep. That's a Bloomberg post there. FBI applied the squeeze in a way that undermines the rule of law. Wow, that's surprising coming from Bloomberg.
You'd think that this shit has already gone past the point of being defending, of being able to, how do you defend what's happened to Donald Trump? He was spied on. The surveillance apparatus of the intelligence state was weaponized against Donald Trump. Somebody's ass needs to roast for that. That is treason. That man is now the president of the United States, and there was a federal investigation opened into Donald Trump, and absolutely nothing came of it. It's time to tack some asses up on the wall. That's what time it is. But I mean, William Barr and John Durham. You know, they might as well, whoever the Keebler elf looking motherfucker, Jeff Sessions, that was just absolutely worthless. I mean, who is going to do their dadgum job and lock somebody up over this? Like, how much more
Nobody.
circumstantial evidence do we need?
Nobody. Nobody's going to do their job. Nobody's going to get locked up. This is politics. They're going to just yell at each other. Now they're just going to tweet at each other. Now they have Twitter to tweet at each other about it. I think that's about all they're going to do. It seems to be the precedent, at least.
I mean, we know that there were quote unquote inaccuracies on those FISA applications. Bullshit, dude. Inaccuracies, they lied. That is how you spin. They fucking falsified the documents.
Yep.
Pardon my French all over this podcast, dude. I've been swearing a lot, but it's just so frustrating. And people are reporting on this like they're just absolutely shocked that, you know, there would be a handwritten note about collusion against Michael Flynn from within the FBI. When this is known, this has been known for years. So I think you're absolutely right that nothing's gonna happen. It should, but it won't. Just like Hillary Clinton, you know.
Yeah.
We lost so many intelligence assets in China while she was the Secretary of State. Did you know that? I don't know if we've mentioned that here.
Repeat that?
We lost a ton of intelligence assets, spies over in China while Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State. During her tenure, our shit was getting murked over there in the shadows. We were losing the cloak and dagger war in China.
Losing assets. People?
Yeah. And a lot of folks were saying that that her server was just an open, just come and get it, boys, like feeding slop to hogs. And it was paid, and they were. Some folks have accused her of selling government secrets. You know, basically allowing access to that information for donations. But then again, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how she runs something out of that dadgum bathroom and doesn't allow access to anybody that would want it, you know? But who the hell really knows what went on? It was something nefarious, definitely nefarious. I don't trust for 1 second that bitch wasn't dealing with other countries under the table in exchange for compensation of some sort. You know, the blood of children, money, who knows?
Yeah, that's nuts. That's nuts.
Oh, Joe Biden. He's the only one that can still lose but leave the Democrat Party intact. But who really knows that, man? Who really knows? Maybe Trump does punch him hard enough to shatter the party.
I don't know. I think I pointed out on Reddit even not long ago that it's well, we kind of point this out all the time. I think that with the problem that liberals, progressive Democrats, trans people, whatever you want to call them, the problem they have right now is the battles have gotten so small like the whole mindset of progressivism is that we've got to fix these problems that are plaguing our society. And there have been some major problems that, I don't know, I guess I'm speaking from I'm speaking, as a homeowner here. But a lot of these problems have been fixed. Racism's not what it was in the 40s and 50s. And I don't know, what other problems have we really had? That was a real big one, which is a problem that's still terrible throughout the rest of the world. And we've solved a lot of problems with people, with like persecutions against like sexual preference and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's not a battlefield anymore.
Right. So, now it's all been broken down into, well, you've got, 1% of the population that wants, more rights for people who decide to go get surgery to become a different person. And they think they should have more rights. And you've got other people who think that, all women should be believed all the time. You've got that part of it. You've got the people who think that everybody should get paid to do nothing. You've got the people who, there's tons of them. You could, you could just keep on going. Let me scoot on back over to our politics, and I'll just read you a list of them. But there's nothing to rally around. Whereas Republicans are really rallying around, seems to be a strong economy. That's what they were rallying around. Now they're, I don't know, everybody's kind of fucked now. But that's, that's a serious issue is Democrats need to find something a lot more. They need to stop listening to fringe politics. That's for sure. Because there's value in both sides of that coin. But that value is not going to be found on Twitter. It's not going to be found on our politics. It's not going to be found in AOC or the Four Gang or whatever they're called. Shit.
It's not going to be found in another country.
Yeah, that's for fucking sure. That's what's very scary about it.
I don't know. Maybe
it's like we hate everything about Russia except for the way they run their country. We want to be socialist, communist, just like Russia, but we don't want anything else to do with them. Man, I beat the shit out of Cuphead. Beat it in 10 days. I still don't know how long it took me. My Switch won't tell me. But I beat dude, I don't even think we podcasted the whole time I played Darkwood. Maybe right at the beginning or something. But Darkwood, everybody must play Darkwood. Especially from like a horror perspective. It runs fantastic on the Switch. I imagine it's even better on the PC, but I totally recommend it on the Switch. But it's a, top-down survival horror. The environment is very reminiscent of Silent Hill for me. I remember I played a lot of Silent Hill 4: The Room. I played a fair amount of Silent Hill 1 and 2. So it's just got that creepy vibe to it. Whereas, Resident Evil is a different sort of atmosphere and vibe, and I'm sure there's a better way to categorize that, but that's the best I can really do. It's heavy on crafting. It's got the graphics are just so fucking cool. It's hard, but it's not unforgiving, I'd say. You die, you've got to make a corpse run, and you can die making a corpse run, but then you've just got 2 corpses to go pick up. And it's not impossible. It's really not. It's so much fun. The thrill, everything's a thrill in that game, you know? What am I going to go look for today? Because you've got a map that kind of fills out as you discover things. And, you know, you see a hole in your map, you know something's there. So you're going to go up there and fill in that area, see what you can find. So that much is a thrill. But then, you know, oh shit, the sun's starting to set. You've got to head home. That, you know, what shit's going to pop up in my house tonight that I've got to defend against? That much is thrilling too. So that's a really, really fun game. And then I went straight into Cuphead. I'm doing my best to really play every game that I'm getting on my Switch, so I don't end up like on my Steam where I've got 300 or 400 games and 90% of them I've never even installed. Cuphead was fun. It's definitely worth the $15 that I put into it. It's obvious, you know, I guess it's obvious that they put so much work into this game. But it was a pretty short game. I mean, you know,
They
I'm
got
dumping.
that DLC coming out later on this year. So.
They do. And that'll be worth it. I'll get the DLC for sure.
Isn't there an expert difficulty level now that you can play it on?
Yeah, I noticed that. The Delicious Last Course. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you're right. They still don't have a release date for it.
Featuring a new character named Miss Chalice.
Oh, look at that. Brand new playable character with a modified move set, new abilities. You can play her through the original Cuphead adventure. So yeah, you know, when I get the DLC, I might go back and try a few on Expert. Right now, I feel like I'm kind of done with the game, though. Some of those bosses were just frustrating. The last boss,
I don't doubt it.
The devil was a little frustrating. That dragon motherfucker was frustrating. Some of them, the King Dice, next to the last boss, I found that to be just a lot of fun. A lot of fun. But I don't know. Darkwood was so much fun, and there's like another side of the story to be played through as well. But I kind of feel like I found resolution there, and I think I find more value in trying to move on and complete another game than just replaying through the same game, because otherwise I'll never get through the list of games that I would like to play. I found it hard enough as it is. Yeah, you know, I've got the 300 or 400 Switch games, and there's 50 games on my Steam wish list, so that's kind of yeah, that's kind of become just what do they call that? Like, it's reached critical mass. So now I'm moved on to an unlikely game for me, I think, but Lego City Undercover, just because it was the only Switch game on my wish list that was on sale, and I picked it up for $12, and it's Lego GTA. It's really silly. So far, it's really, really easy. I expect the whole game to be pretty easy. We'll see how quickly I get bored with it. But it's neat so far, you know? I don't know, if you can get it on sale and if it looks interesting, I'd say go for it. Other than that, I've poured damn near 200 hours into Animal Crossing over the past, how long has it been out? A month and a half? Not even. But I don't know, I started playing Animal Crossing at least as far back as 2006. But I would say I probably started playing Animal Crossing in 2002, 2003. I still have my GameCube copy. I used to play it a lot back then.
How many bastards would you give the original Animal Crossing?
I don't remember. It's been, I probably haven't touched that game since 2006, 2007.
True.
But Animal Crossing is it's supposed to be a really laid back experience. This particular Animal Crossing, New Horizons, is a lot more involved than Animal Crossing has been. And it's almost a good thing that it is, because it's been such a smash hit. Like, everybody's playing this game. But it's way more like I could play Animal Crossing New Leaf on the 3DS. I can play that with my 4-year-old. I played it with my 2-year-old when she was 2.
That's pretty cool, man.
Yeah. She gets frustrated with this game really quickly because there's a lot of comprehension and reading, because there's so much crafting. There's so much more that you kind of have to do. She's not good at like making money. So I end up just kind of giving her a lot of money on the 3DS version, and she'll buy stuff, she'll decorate her house kind of thing. She's not really interested in the rest of the gameplay. She's interested in the decoration of it and just kind of hanging out. Whereas this game's a bit more involved, at least, especially on the front end. But yeah, really, really good game. It's an incredible, just creative outlet for designing things. You know, you end up getting a lot of furniture and just materials to customize things and build things. You can customize your entire island now, whereas before you didn't really have that option. In the 3DS version, you could build some bridges and you could set up some things, but not like in this game. In this game, you can stick anything anywhere, and you can move rivers, you can move mountains.
Oh, wow. That's pretty neat.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to Nintendo re-upping their stock and that price dropping.
Dude, yeah.
So I want to get Breath of the Wild and Animal Crossing. That'll probably do me just fine right there.
Yeah. Animal Crossing's, for me, it's always been a very social game. I've pretty much only played this game in the past, I've played it with girlfriends, and currently, I was playing it with my kid, and then, when I started dating my current girlfriend, we started playing the shit out of the 3DS version. So we both got Switches ahead of the Animal Crossing release, the New Horizons release, and yeah, I mean, we played the game together because it's such a creative outlet. It's something you almost have to do with someone else. Otherwise, what are you doing? Like that's what Fallout 4 really fell flat for me. Is like, you can build this giant homestead, but you're just sharing it with these mindless fucking bots, you know? You might as well be sharing it on our politics.